Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to talk about the newest promotion for MCU leader Kevin Feige. Now, this was announced about, I think, 2 days ago, but I wanted to wait a day or two to let it kind of gestate and see what kind of reactions people were having about it, in addition to formulating my own opinion on what this means for the future of the MCU and Marvel as a brand in total, and also what other decision making around this has kind of led to this decision. Now, it was reported, and I did a video on it, it was reported about 2 weeks ago that Kevin Feige would be producing a Star Wars film along with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm, and there was speculation that he could possibly jump ship from Marvel to Star Wars to kind of fix that shit show that's been going on over there for the last 3 or 4 years. But with his recent promotion, that's kind of basically put away now because he's basically the commander-in-chief of Marvel. He still retains his complete control over the film division. He is also gaining complete control of the television division, which means anything like Agents of Shield, all that stuff, any of the other stuff that they license out, like the Runaways or anything like that, is now all under his roof. And also the comic publishing branch of it as well. Now, the only thing that apparently is not reported directly to him is former creative. I don't know what his actual job title is, actually. Ike Perlmutter. Basically, he has kind of still control over the games licensing involving Marvel characters. So he's still in charge of that, and they still have to go to him based on that. But as far as the everything else goes in terms of the entertainment, Feige has complete control. And this is not really that surprising, considering that we know that Perlmutter and Feige have had a pretty heated relationship in the past, especially when Perlmutter was above him at the company before Feige eventually got his promotion from Bob Iger. So that's not surprising, and it's also not surprising that he's been given even more power, and Perlmutter, again, has been kind of pushed to the side because it's obvious that Disney does not really care much for Perlmutter. They don't really like him. They prefer Feige. Feige is basically their golden boy. And I've equated him to that before. They think he can do anything. They think he has the magic touch, basically. And they want to keep him with Marvel for as long as they can. And this is basically assured that he's going to have a place at Marvel for probably the rest of his professional career, however long that may last. Now, the reactions to this have been they've been split. I've seen hardcore MCU fans that really like it. They say yes, 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 bring everything under one roof, make everything kind of cohesive. And from a business perspective, I can understand that because the MCU is kind of built on that cohesive nature. And Agents of Shield was kind of separate from that, especially recently. It's kind of gone off on a bit of a tangent. As well as some of the other series that are quote-unquote connected to the MCU. The Netflix universe, which is recently, all of those shows have been canceled, which I suspect those will probably be rebooted relatively soon. Maybe with new actors, maybe not, depending on when the series was actually canceled, because again, they had a 2-year contract that stated that they couldn't appear as those characters outside of Netflix for 2 years after the cancellation of the show. So it's an interesting conundrum because you have that on one side, then on the other side you have people like, he's already ruining the films, now he's just going to ruin everything else. And I have been critical of Feige, especially recently, because they're planning on introducing all these social justice warrior characters that don't move books, so to expect them to move a television show is a bit much, or a film for that matter. And I think bringing them in is alienating the hardcore comic community, which is a lot of really what makes up and what drives the MCU and what's driven it for so long is those hardcore comic fans. And ultimately, I don't think this changes anything involving the direction that the MCU was going in anyway, because it was already set on that path. It wasn't going to change. and all this does is simply make it so that everything else kind of falls in line with that. So if you're enjoying the comics right now, or you're enjoying some of the television shows that aren't on the streaming services and stuff like that, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that, then you might see some pretty significant changes, because obviously I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going into its last season, so that's probably going to be gone. But I think you're going to be seeing a lot of changes on the television side of things. I think Disney's going to move most, if not all, of their stuff over onto Disney Plus, and they're not going to have anything premiering on regular cable television, even though they could run it through the ABC outlet. But I think you're going to see that. And then on the comic side of things is where I'm a bit more concerned. Because here's the thing, is that Kevin Feige, again, he is Disney's golden boy. He follows their mantra. And I have a funny feeling that he is going to try and water down the comic books to an extent. He's going to try and curb any of the adult-related content in them. I have a funny feeling they're going to try and family-friendly a lot of the comic books to kind of match the tone of some of the film aspects, and kind of try and copy that Marvel formula and put it into comic book form. Now, it is fair to note that the comic division of Marvel is relatively small compared to the television and film divisions, so it's not really like it's going to be I don't think he's going to be as heavily involved in that as some people might think he might be. But the one thing is, we shouldn't be seeing, I don't think we should be seeing more of like, directors' kids getting to write comic books like what happened with J.J. Abrams. That was just kind of just a weird little blip on the radar that nobody really cared about. And again, it's not like it's J.J. Abrams writing the comic book. It's J.J. Abrams' kid is writing the comic book. And I feel like that might have been a contract stipulation for him coming back for episode 9. I feel like maybe that was something that he worked out at the table. Like, yeah, I'll come back. One of my points is I need to have my kid make a Marvel comic book. It's like his dream. So you're gonna make that happen if I'm going to come back and do this movie. I feel like that was something that happened across the table there, and that's why that popped up. But aside from that, again, I think that you'll see some changes. I don't necessarily know how drastic they're going to be, but I think you will see some changes. Feige generally does not like to rock the boat, I guess, as long as something is working, which is a kind of a good and a bad thing depending on how you look at it. But that's just kind of the way that he tends to go with things in a lot of cases. Is like, okay, these directors are working, I'm going to hire them on for 3 or 4 more films. Okay, this guy isn't working, all right, maybe we won't have him come back. And I would be very curious to see how hard they start pushing some of these social justice warrior characters that are going to be in films now and TV shows that are going on Disney Plus in the comic and in the comics division. Are they going to have a Miss Marvel revival that they're gonna push that hard? Is this going to be like a Captain Marvel deal, but they have a new issue, a new #1 that keeps coming up every 2 to 3 months? Is it going to be a situation like that? And I would be curious to see if that starts to happen, because I would equate that directly to Kevin Feige taking over control of that division and passing down his orders to them. But only time is going to tell to see how much certain things wind up changing. But I want to know what your opinion is. Do you think that giving Kevin Feige more power is going to change things? Is it going to make things better? Is it going to make things worse? I'd like to know what your opinion is. Again, put it in the comments below. I'd like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?